Okay, this lesson is gonna be divided into two parts. I'm going to do part of it now, and it's all about color mixing. These are complicated colors, and it just depends on what you use as your base combination. You know, how it's gonna go and what you want to use. I want to explain a little bit about color. And also I am going to mix the combination that I will use, that I can use consistently throughout the whole painting for those earth tones that are the rocks in this photograph. The more I've been playing with it, the more I realize that the color in here for me, anyway, is complicated, but it doesn't have to be. If you have your base combination and stick with it throughout the painting, and I'm finding even with the greens, with the combination that I'm going to use for those earth tones, which are basically grays. Brown is a combination of red and green, and it depends on which color green you use, which color red you use, what you come out with. So I'm going to start by, this morning I've been playing most of the morning, really, most of the morning, trying to decide what I have to do to get the combinations of those earth tones. Earth tone it's a gray. So we are going to make a gray. We're going to make a gray. You can make gray with any two colors that are opposite on the color wheel. If you're starting with a yellow, you're going to use a violet. I was looking for my old color wheel. Maybe, maybe when I do the rest of this, I can find it somewhere. We haven't used it in such a long time. So you need to make a gray. Most of the time you say, oh, that's brown, but it's really a gray. It's two, if you're using your primaries, if you're using your secondaries, any yellow and any violet will, or red, yellow with violet, red with green, blue with orange, you're going to come out with some kind of a gray. Now we're starting, I mixed colors already this morning, and I don't want to be in your face. So we're starting, I have my whole palette out. I have my ultramarine blue, my alizarin, and my yellow. They're our basic prime, our basic combination if we were doing just primary colors or mixing everything from that. And I did mix some of them. Then I have my yellow, this is the transparent orange, because I'm going to show you a beautiful green with that. This is my red. This is my mixed red from my yellow and my alizarin, because this tube red and this orange are very bright. And then I have my alizarin, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, and Sevs blue. Viridian, we're not using that. This is raw sienna. This is yellow ochre. This is transparent oxide red and white. All the colors that are on here, I used combining some of those colors. The first thing I wanted to do was to make a green. And that's my ultramarine blue with the yellow. And that's a very bright green. Then I made another green using viridian and yellow ochre. We have been doing that right along. This is my basic gray, which is ultramarine blue mixed with the red, the cadmium red light Grumbacher. This is cobalt and white. And this is viridian and yellow ochre. So first of all, when I know we've done that, to get a very dark green, the mixture, I'll just do a little bit for you. The mixture is ultramarine blue with transparent orange. So depending on how much of the orange you use, you get a dark but very warm green. I'm just going to take a brush and show you. I think this is probably what I used there. So if I have this really dark green and I'm starting to decide, all right, this is my dark, because we did a wash. So that's a very dark green. And I can use it over what I did and leave some of those undercolors, but that's my darkest green. Then I need a very dark brown to do some of those colors. Or ultramarine blue and transparent oxide red. The more blue, it's almost a black. The more red, transparent oxide red, you're going to get a brown. So I'm using this working in with these other colors, but I wanted to have my darkest black. That's my black. If there's any place where I think that I have to have, a really dark, I can do that with that. The other mixture of the orange and the ultramarine blue is warmer, and you need that. In this painting, in this photograph, the colors are really, in the greens, are very cool. They really are. And yet there is warmth. There's always warmth. The more yellow, whatever yellow it is, this is raw sienna, that's a yellow ochre, yellow, cadmium yellow medium, because I mixed it with the alizarin and got that. So they're what I'll use when I work with the greens. They're very cool. And then I have my gray, ultramarine blue, and the red, and I mix that, and I have my cobalt and white. So now to get my base color for the gray, the rock gray, I'm using, it's green, which we've been doing with sap green and cadmium red light. Again, both those Grumbacher colors. And now I want it to be a brownish, more brown. This is more like blue. So the more red I add, and I can see that it is turning to my gray, red, very, very, it's almost like burnt sienna, but, and then white. Should start it with white. And I'm looking at what I did over here when I originally mixed these colors. I need more red in that. You have to adjust as you look at what you did. So that green and red are going to give me this. Let me just see something else. First start with white. Then just a touch of the green. I think that's probably a better approach. Just so I have a very light green. And then my red. I'll save that. Little more red. You have to do this just inch by inch, really. So I have it's now a little too pink. The only way you can do this is look at what you have and adjust from there. I think that's a good start. So if I have that, and now I want to warm it up, that's my base. I'm going to take the yellow ochre. More. So I can do that with my raw sienna also. I'll show you that. And I'll constantly lighten it. These are very light. These in here, the base color underneath is dark, but we want to be able to put those light. That's a good one. Now, if I want to do that a little differently, I'll show you. If I take that base green and white, I'm starting with a white. See, I should have mixed more in the beginning. Little green. And raw sienna. Want more than that? So by doing this, I am just mixing warm, earthy colors. And if I put them on, that's a little, all right, and then the dark brown. So the dark brown was the ultramarine blue with more transparent oxide red. And if I just take a little bit of that, see over here, it's warmer. And as you come into you look at the photograph, you'll notice it getting more cooler, more blue in it. But if I take this color, and the thing is, if I'm working on that hill, and I take this and I say, all right, this is this color right there. Then I let it go. Then I say, now I need another color. I'm going to go over here. But if I keep on working with this, and I do want that darker, see what I did? I didn't do the whole thing. I didn't just cover that whole thing. I'm leaving some of that undercolor underneath. And then I'm looking at all these colors that I have created here, and it might be this mixed with this. I don't know. That I'm going to do next. So I'm going to put a splotch of it there. And again, I'm just blending, doing splotches of color and blending it. And then over here, I see that more of a yellow ochre, and it's pretty, that I mixed over here. And so if I run that into that, then I can get the places where it is lighter. And I can go back and say, you know, I should have just toned that down a little, so I can do that. I highly recommend putting on, making your piles of paint big. So you can do that. Now I'm just gonna take my dark green that I've mixed, because now I can bring those trees up. And I'm gonna take, this is the green. So if I take my brush now, you'll see how it's, you know, blending a little bit and covering. So we're gonna keep on moving just like that. I'm gonna do this because just to show you in this one section, there's a lot. I can't do the whole thing right now, but I'm just moving along with this. So at the base, again, he's some a little darker. I'm only blending it. And then in the photograph, I see some of those greens. And even to the point where maybe a little cerulean or in it. I'm just gonna take a tiny bit of that and mix it with this. I don't know if that's what I want, but all right. So I'm gonna make a green. I'm working with all the ones I like. I like in this painting really the warmer yellow ochre green. And I'm gonna stick with that because I just did a little too. Okay. And then I see that green comes a little more in the yellow, but a little bit, I think, of the white. And I'm gonna just put in that. All right, lighter. The only way that's gonna happen is when I put it down, I say, all right, should have made that a little lighter. So I do. I just put a little bit white, and look at that beautiful combination there of those colors. Now I see there the same principle. Now I'm going into this earthy yellow ochreish, and I'm going to put that on top. And it's again great. So that's the approach to those colors. They'll have to be adjusted. From my point of view, I have to adjust some of those colors. It's almost too light. Yeah. So keep on moving, keep on adjusting, keep on not adjusting, but just looking at your photo, deciding, all right, I could use a little bit of the yellow ochre green or the brighter green. And just get that in there. That's a little better, I think. I like that. Then right next to that is again a little bit of the dark green, but that again, I want to even that dark green You're gonna adjust these greens with yellow ochre, with raw sienna, however, that's a good one. I like that. And I'm adding it here and there as I go, really. Turning away from it, actually looking at what you see, which always is a difficulty for me because I'm so close to this. You have to step back once in a while, step back. So I could keep on going with this and just maybe a little contrast here. And once in a while, just taking a brush that will blend and softening some of those edges. And make sure you keep your corners done. See, then what I say here, trying to, I'm using the same color brush, I mean. And I'm going into that, sometimes it's hard, I look back and forth. I'm just looking at what I was going to do. I'm gonna get this darker again. I missed it. I'm gonna leave that there. And my problem always is that I have a tendency to constantly play with it. I'm holding my brush like this, doing it with the side of the, gonna get that corner dark. And then also, it's not just a straight line, just, wherever, go back and forth. I'm gonna leave that sort of violet color that I had underneath. I'm gonna leave it there for now. And this one I want to bring down. Real dark. Right here. Should have made that a little warmer. And I want to form this curve. Then what I see next is a warmth that comes down and changes. It does, it changes. I'm taking a little bit of my base color here, and I'm gonna just get that highlight there. And again, I want white, and I'm gonna take a little bit of yellow ochre, because I see that was good, but ultimately, so I'm mixing. There's a lighter edge. What's happening with me is I keep using this brush, So I see now mixing, what I did here. And it comes into more of a reddish. I will put poke holes in later. I'm taking some of the brown and still, using these mixtures, but this is really bothering me because I had it there, when I was doing the base. Let me just get rid of that. And then get some green in there. Should be using two different brushes, but it's kind of working. I'm leaving this little violet show. I am. I had that underneath. All right, transparent oxide red. And I want a little on the black side. The brown. Yeah, a little darker, I think. And it is mixing, with some of those other colors, but that works. Up here, that's too light. I have to, when I work like this, I will come back. And what I do is, this is on the canvas, on the easel rather. And I have all my colors all mixed already. So if I'll walk by and I'll say, oh, should have put that color in there, should have done this. And then I do it. I want to adjust this a little more. That's the key, really. What I'm doing is I'm looking at it and deciding that it has to. And I'm going to get out my pointed brush and work on some of those little trees. Sometimes I need to really go back and just, use this pointed brush to make a few minor adjustments. Look at this, just a touch of that green back there. All helps. Just trying to keep my brushes a little cleaner. All right, if I'm gonna do a whole area here, I'm going to work with these colors. And I see a little bit of violet in there. So what I did mix ultramarine blue with alizarin, and I have a purple. Purple, very bluish. Now it's reddish. So I have that, but I want it to be violet. Let's see what I have. And since I want to gray it out, I'm going to add some of the, one of those yellowish colors. And I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not, but I'm gonna try it. I need it to be more blue. And now I need it to be more violet. Where am I? It just needed to be a little darker. So I see that, and then come into it with that brownish. I want to get rid of that bright green. So that worked. It really did. It was a violet color with some of my dark brown. And it just has a little different. I see purple in there. I do. I see purple. And there's actually one place right here. I'm gonna put the purple in. It's up here. I mixed it. So it's now it's just forming that shadow with a lot of nice color in it. See less of it over here, but I do see it here and I want it in. Then it comes up more warm-ish. And I did that using the one of the earth colors. And just now I'm just getting it. So that's the story, right? So I got the purple, get a little gray with it. And get a little bit in there. See a little bit up here, really. So you don't want to keep it all in one area, but just use it in combination with some of the other colors, and that creates harmony. So now I'm going to take my brush. Maybe I'll take the fine brush because I want to bring this tree up in there. So I'm taking that dark green and I'm going to cross over it. This is the beauty of having all these colors already mixed. And I'm not painting, the typical, some places I'm leaving as background that cuts it in. And I could make that tree comes to about here. So I'm going to do that yet. Create the shadow side. Soft edges. I never can get that top where I want it nice and straight. And then I'm coming down to the very dark right here. And then what I'm going to do is highlight some of the branches that are more in the light, and I'm going to do that with my yellow ochre green. It's pretty good. See, and because it's blending with that, other color underneath, and I'm doing it all at once, you're gonna see those lighter branches. And I'm gonna carry, again, you don't have to stick entirely with the photo, but I am making this 2 trees. I don't know if it's in there or not, but I don't care. And then I'm gonna carry it right to the edge and get that dark side dark. Trying to just adjust that a little. This might even come out a little further. Trying to make my brush dance right now. Didn't I see like a little dark green there? Still gonna adjust that. I'm gonna just sit back for a minute. See what you're seeing. It's probably good that I see that. Then I'm gonna have to find places. The color on the screen seems to be darker, because when I look at what I did, I have those light, soft browns, grays, and I don't want to change it. It might be an adjustment that I can make on, using that app. Let me just see. I hope. Image adjustments here. Let me just see, exposure. Trying to move it a little bit. Yeah, look at the difference. Watch this. I think that's closer to what I have on my easel, because there you can see those earth colors showing through, and the greens. What I'm going to do, Pat and I talked about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video. I think I've done about 45 minutes. And then I'm going to come back either probably tomorrow and continue with those greens. And even when you're looking at my photo, that part that you can see, you can see how those greens and those brownish grays all blend together. And then as they come down into the valley, they get warmer. On the left side, that hill, those greens there are very much in the yellow ochre. I'm just gonna put a little bit of that in, because you realize now that you're looking at this and that the light is shining, this is light, this is more violet. Really, look at the violet that's in there. And then you have these wonderful warm contrast, violet, yellow, and again, it definitely to me is a yellow ochre green. And I am gonna gray it out a little bit with my gray, right or wrong, I don't know, I'll tell you in a minute. And a little white, too much. And I want it more green, yellow green. Let me just see if that is gonna be what. That's a good base, really. And then then I'm gonna work, it's always best to have a darker base. And then come on top, I'm gonna give a little raw sienna in there. And then get that green to warm up, to lighten, to show more of the yellow ochre in it. This is my base. And there, these, you see the sweep where it leads your eye into, into, this hill. And I just hate to stop, if I'm doing these hills, not to do both sides. So everything is a matter too of contrast. There's a lot to be done in this painting, obviously. I mean, you can see it. And it will take, quite a few weeks, I think. We have to work on layering, lightening, whatever we're gonna do. Get those greens in there, get those red violets in there, and then these beautiful blue violets, the path, the greens in the foreground that have little yellow flowers in it. It was absolutely beautiful. It really was. It was an awesome trip. It seems like the trips that we took, we didn't, do like a awful lot, but we did. Of the two trips that we took, the most beautiful ones were in the Rocky Mountain National Park, and I wish I had all the pictures that I took. They were on a CD, on an old computer, and some of them got lost. Fortunately, I have a few of them that, that I still have. And then in Minnesota, that was when Ralph's boss took us up into the mountains, which we wouldn't have done on our own. We didn't have a Jeep. He had a Jeep. And then the other one was when I visited my cousin in Minnesota, and it was their 40th wedding anniversary. And she had cancer, and she had asked to invite Ralph and me so that they could take us to their favorite places in Minnesota. It was gorgeous, and places that we wouldn't have known to go. So that's the beauty of having someone who lives in a place take you to their special places that you might miss otherwise. So for now, I'm going to just stop here. I know I'm coming back. At least what I want to do is have that base like this, and then when we come back, to lay the highlights on it, to slightly adjust a few colors, to put a thicker paint on where it's lighter, and work our way through this painting. even when you think of the sky, which again is, it almost have to have some of it there. If I take a white and the light blue, right? I'll just take the light blue. I'm just gonna do this first. Because it definitely helps to see what you did. I mean, right there, it really made a difference already. And then when you do the clouds, I'm not gonna do them, I just wanna show you how this works. Little bit of yellow ochre in the white. So where you have those really bright, that's too much yellow. Yeah, nuts. I don't want to start painting the sky, but if I don't. Oh, so when you come down near the mountains, that you're gonna have that wonderful warmth in there. It, I have to do the whole sky at one time, but just wiping it out helped. But see how then where you need the hard edge between the mountain and the sky, especially with this one, this one will, it goes back into the distance and you'll have a softer edge. But you can see how that is going to help in the end to make the painting work for me anyway. Looking at what you see, so that's pretty close. That's pretty close to the colors that I have. And then, you know, look at the photograph. I know that once this dries and I want to get those little changes, you know, where you see some of those trees. And this I have to do, yeah, right. And if I do it now, it's gonna blend with the sky, which I don't necessarily want. But that's the idea. All right, so for now, I'm gonna stop this video. And then probably tomorrow, I'll do the next part of our lesson. You know, probably half an hour, 40 minutes. So that I'm covering more of the canvas. And you know what colors I use. I will explain it as I go. But just layering those colors. Okay, so I'm ending this video. And I'll continue it to give you the rest of the lesson. So have a good weekend wherever you are.